Hello, here's part 3. The laws for this system are contained in chapter 9 of the proposed constitution. These two persons, the distributive owner, you could call it, and the one who rents it, their power is balanced against each other. So if the distributive owner is going to tell the person who rents the land, I want more money, then the user of the land who is renting it has the right to maintain the usage of the land until he has taken a chance to remove his crops from the land. Also, if the distributive owner, it's not of the land, wants to change the contract, the one who is using it has the right to search for another distributive owner who wants to own that piece of land under better conditions. If he can find someone, then the distributive owner and doesn't agree with going on with the old contract, then the the user of the land starts a contract with the other person who has offered a better contract. This one loses his land and gets new land from the bank which is available. Of course, land in the land bank or the administrative system for it always has enough land for all persons, because the total is divided by the number of persons. And a little bit of a buffer one might hope to deal with the unexpected. Now I want a little bit more about the financial system, because one might think it is to be a monolithic, overbearing system where everybody has to beg and plead with the government, who is then going to control everything. Well, that is one option. However, the idea is to have a pluralistic investment system where the government can, of course, invest directly, but also can establish funds for certain goals. For instance, this might have a budget of 10 million for agricultural businesses. And this may be a local government or a city government or a county government. They can all make funds to invest in the economy and have these administered by certain bureaucrats. Another fund, and so there will be immeasurable numbers of funds in the system, and people who want funding for something can knock on the door of one of these funds. For example, a farmer wants a fund to overcome the winter. Well, he can go to the local agri-fund for this. If he gets no loan, then he can go to another agri-fund, maybe somewhere else, or maybe for small businesses a fund, or directly to the council, or ask loans from individuals, which are then non-profit loans. Everybody can still lend money up to 25% of average wealth. but it is not allowed to lend it into businesses who are as a speculative means to make money. If you do that, if a company uses speculative funds, then the company is to become a democracy. So if we have this situation and the financier sees a tyrannical business with potential to abuse the people, and the funds going this way, then by constitutional law, this company will be turned into a democracy, thus overturning the negative effect of the financial investment. The sum itself is also destroyed. Half of the fund of the investment sum goes to the person who reported the breaking of the constitution. So this would be a nice bounty for the one who protects the system. But you can still lend. For instance, you can lend to your brother or someone you know. 25 average wealth is a very high sum for any ordinary person. Normal people rarely, if ever, lend money. So maybe $100 here, maybe a few thousand, but then maybe a few 10,000. Well, then you are still probably below this number. And much lending is not for businesses, which is not considered a threat. Lending for consumption or for mortgages is not considered a threat. It's only a threat when employees are going to be possibly abused by tyrannical businesses set up by funding. That's the threat. That's the threat to the third party. It's the damage done by the investment capital. There's also a hard limit for all money lending. People who lend money which is not their own money, but they have, for example, set up a fund which is a democratic fund, then they can, this is the scheme 2 system. Such an investment fund has members which donate money for the money to be invested, but there's one stream of money to generate the capital to use in the economy, and the other stream of funding is to support the fund being run. And then these people control democratically the policies of this fund. So this is a private fund, non-profit fund. The investor is no longer paid by the proceeds of the fund, but it goes back to the proceeds, if any, go back, or the return investment goes back into the fund, and the investor person is being paid by monthly contributions by the members. If the government decides that this is done okay, because you can of course still play this kind of a system, you can still siphon off the money, for example, or you can still fund all kinds of tyrannical bad businesses. But if the government thinks this is an okay fund, is doing the right thing, then you can get a stamp of approval, which is a investment permit. So the government maintains quite a lot of control without, in the government councils, the decisions having to be made about every single investment. Here's a little drawing of the government system. This is a national government. This is the the 50-person national government. They establish ministries or departments. Each department is again run by 50 persons. Perhaps this is the water defense system for Holland. Then the national government puts 50 experts in the council so that it can have some confidence. And then that ministry is called a ministry normally in Holland. I believe it's mostly called a department in England and America. Don't know. Department council then establishes sub-departments, sections, I don't know, and every section has one captain to it. This can also be done for the investment system. For example, Small Business Investment Council, establishing all kinds of sub-departments to run a certain aspect of the investment system. This is then the national government, so naturally one would think the investment would be all kinds of national interest issues, but this general makeup of a government is also suggested. It's not in the constitution, but for the provincial government, the city government, etc., etc. So these also establish their departments and their sub-departments with the department councils and sub-department captains for all kinds of things that the people want administering, including the financial investment system through a variety of funds. So the goal is to not have one monolithic investment structure, but have it be pluralistic, accessible, fair, while cutting out the private investment danger, making it as comfortable and accessible as possible. These laws for the financial investment system are contained in Chapter 8 of the proposed constitution. There's all kinds of laws concerning this. Thank you.